So welcome to the Pregnancy Help and Information Center's Brephos. Brephos is our annual fundraising banquet where we get together with the body of Christ to get around this ministry that is a pro-life ministry in the Tallahassee community working to save the lives of unborn children. You may be wondering about the word Brephos. Brephos is a Greek word, and it's the word that Luke uses in his gospel, both when he's describing John the Baptist in that wonderful scene where Mary and Elizabeth come together and John the Baptist first recognizes the Messiah in the womb of his mother and he leaps for joy, and Luke chooses to use the word Brephos right there. And then later on, after Jesus is born and the wise men are coming to visit him and it refers to a baby wrapped in swaddling cloths, again we see Luke choose to use the word Brephos. And so in both situations, whether it's a baby who is in the womb or it's a baby who is already out of the womb and who is under the care of his mother, the word Luke chooses is Brephos. And Scripture being inspired by God and every word of it being trustworthy, we take that same idea that we believe the life, whether it's in the womb or whether life is out of the womb, it is made in the image of God and is worthy of our protection and is worthy of our care. And so we come together tonight to celebrate Brephos as an effort to stand against abortion in this community and abortion in this nation, as an effort through the Pregnancy Help and Information Center to save lives and help families. I know this is a little bit of a different situation for each of us as you guys are watching from your living rooms or your dining rooms, and here I am from my dining room communicating to all of you. But the nice thing to know is all of us are together being connected through this technological marvel that is the internet and cameras and phones and YouTube, and we are grateful for that opportunity to be connected in that way tonight. I am Ryan Sprague. I am the CEO of the Pregnancy Help and Information Center, and I'm actually in my 8th year with this ministry, which is hard for me to believe. I first got started as a client, actually, when my wife was pregnant with our first daughter, Lucy. And this is her right here with my wife just a couple days after she was born. And that now has been 8 years since that happened. So here's a picture of Lucy today with her little sister, Anna. So I guess you could say that I've been working with the PHI Center exactly Lucy years, which is how we kind of talk about it in our family. But it's been a good ministry, good opportunity for me so far. I was previously involved in church ministry and on different roles and pastoral staffs. And then God brought me into this, which is more of a missional experience for me. And it's stretched me, and it's grown me, it has given me opportunity to get to know clients, get to know those who are serving in this field, and develop a much greater understanding and empathy for the people whom we serve and those whom we're trying to reach in the effort to save the lives of the unborn and help to redeem those who have been wounded by abortion. Tonight, I want to help us understand that it's going to be a little bit different. So I want to give you an overview of what we're going to experience tonight. First, obviously, you're going to be interacting with me through this context, but the way we're going to try to tell our story is through videos. And so there's going to be 2 or 3 videos that we show tonight with letting other people kind of give their experience about what it's like to be a part of the PHI Center. So know that's going to come. You're going to see a website at the bottom of the page, www.phicenter.org/donate. That's because you are at home. Anything could happen. The dogs could bark, the kids could wake up, somebody could come knock on your door, and you might have to get disconnected from this. And if that's the case, we wanted to make sure that the link is available to everybody so they know where to go. Because while tonight we are the body of Christ coming together to glorify our God and recognize that we are a work of God's people in this community to advance God's kingdom, the way we get supported and the way we're staying available is through donations from individuals and from churches and from small businesses in our area. And so while we are together to glorify God, and that is our primary purpose here tonight, as a derivative effect of that, we are hoping that folks may be compelled to give. And so you have the opportunity by following that link. But at the end of the night, we're going to show you our pledge process, and we're going to explain to you how our online pledge process works if you choose to get involved with us and support us financially throughout the course of the year. So you're also going to see us kind of break tonight. We're going to go through times of prayer together because, again, we want to help glorify God in what we're doing. And so you'll hear me pause, and you'll see a verse of Scripture that's going to come onto your screen. And in that moment, I'm not going to say anything. That's going to be an opportunity for you to pray in your home with whomever it is that you are with, and to hopefully we can all then collectively know that around this city and even outside of the state of Florida, the body of Christ is coming together to pray, to see God glorified, to see God's people moved and lives saved in this area through the work of the Pregnancy Help and Information Center. So for those of you guys that are connected and you are not watching from Tallahassee, I want to encourage you to consider something. Someone has invited you to watch. It's probably a member of our staff, maybe it's a volunteer with the PHI Center, maybe it's someone who just loves this ministry and is a part of it. I want to encourage you that if your connection to this work happens to be through a worker or through someone else who cares about it, that's an okay reason to get involved. I would encourage you to, if you feel compelled with this message, to get involved with the pregnancy centers that are in your community or in your town. But if you don't know of one or you can't find one, I want to encourage you that you can get involved with us. And if your connection is through the worker, we think that is a good connection and is a good reason for you to stay connected and be involved with what we're doing. And we'll do our best to stay connected with you, even though we're communicating over miles away. So what we're going to do is, again, the reason we're here in our living room is because of this COVID-19 thing, as our introductory video explained to you. And so it's going to be a little bit strange, which is why I'm sitting here doing my best John Krasinski, some good news impression, sitting in my chair looking like a news reporter. This is not how obviously we would already do it, but it is how we're doing it now. And so knowing how we've had to change our banquet, obviously we've also had to change the way we serve our clients. And so the first thing we had to do is we had to figure out how can we meet the needs of our clients while understanding these quarantine situations and following the guidelines set out by our governor and by their president. So our first problem was we needed to find a place to meet. So what you're about to watch is a short video showing what we did in the backyard of the PHI Center to set up a place for us to safely meet, and how we created a curbside delivery service so our clients could still get the resources that they might need to take care of us. And so you notice at the beginning a small crew of small people who were helping to build the cabana. Those were 4 of my kids who came together to build this cabana that we call it the Corona Cabana, so we could continue to serve our clients. Watch this video. So as you can see, we've been able to continue operating, not exactly as we've done before, but we're still being able to operate. And we've been able to see clients outside at the Corona Cabana. We've even been able to help Christian Family Services, which is an adoption agency that rents out space from us downstairs. They were able to have a conversation with adoptive family yesterday, being able to use the Corona Cabana. And so we've been able to stay open. People have been able to still do classes online. Our interns and our staff created a bunch of Facebook groups. So we have groups dedicated to first trimester or second trimester mothers or third trimester mothers or parents of toddlers or infants or whatever the different scenarios are. And we're able to run classes every week. We're able to interact and provide encouragement for them, and they were able to get connected with other parents. And they're still able to earn their resources. And then they can come on those Monday evenings and get their curbside pickup. And we've been doing everything we can to make sure we're able to still meet their needs while also being protective and careful of making sure that we're not encouraging the spread of the COVID-19 virus. So it's been neat to see. We've seen, I think, 21 clients, and those 21 clients that we've seen since COVID-19 started are clients exclusively in their first trimester who are in crisis. We're not meeting with people live who are in their second trimester or third trimester who are just parenting classes. So this is only people who have just found out they're pregnant and who are in trouble. And so 21 women we've been able to continue serving and being connected to because of the efforts that were put to get that program running. So we're thankful to know that we are still operating, just operating differently in the midst of this virus. And so what it is that we do, again, Pregnancy Help and Information Center. We're what they call a pregnancy resource center. And we're a part of a movement that's been going on around the world for a long, long time. We're just the most current manifestation of it. But if you go all the way back to the Exodus and the time where the Hebrews were in Egypt, and you had this decree set out that you're going to see Hebrew children that were going to be slaughtered, you had this group of Hebrew midwives who chose to disobey the rule of the land and make sure they would protect the children who were being born. And it was one of the first acts of heroic bravery and of compassionate intervention that we saw from people who love God, who want to make sure that his image bearers were not unfairly slaughtered. Fast forward a few thousand years to when the church was in its nascent stages, and you had the practice in the Greco-Roman world of exposure, where babies, if they weren't wanted or because they were unhealthy or for whatever the reasons were, they would literally just set babies outside. and leave them, abandon them, that they would be taken by animals or die of natural causes. And you saw the church act out in response to that. And what they would do is they would go and they would take these babies home, and they began adopting. And you actually saw the advent of the first hospitals with wings dedicated just to the care of these foundlings. Even the eventual advent of orphanages came out of the Christian church's response to taking care of unwanted babies, because they knew that God wanted those babies, and it was the charge of the church to do something about it. And now you fast forward into the 70s in the United States, where this pregnancy resource movement started. It followed on the tails of Roe versus Wade and the legalization of abortion in this country, that the church decided to do something. And they started these ministries, these places where people could come to find help, come to find resources, and learn that they did not have to end the life of their baby. And the Pregnancy Help and Information Center got started in 1974, right after Roe versus Wade, when a group of local clergymen said, we should do something about this in our community, because it's unacceptable for women to believe their only option, if they're pregnant and they're in trouble, is to go find an abortion clinic. And so we were born. And now 44 years later, here we sit today, having a Brephos meeting because of COVID-19 over the internet and talking about what we do. And I am thankful to be a part of that movement, and thankful to be there's pregnancy centers literally all over the world, on almost every continent, Christian brothers and sisters who are fighting against the scourge that is abortion by trying to be compassionate and present in the lives of women who are in crisis, in order to try to help them end not the pregnancy, but end that crisis. And the Pregnancy Help and Information Center is just one of many centers that are working hard around the world to see that end. And so our particular compassionate intervention looks like this. You'll see under our logo the words compassion, support, and hope. It is our belief that we need to give those opportunities to our clients. And so the first thing we have is a compassionate response. I think I shared at the beginning that one of the things I learned when I first started working here was really who our clients are. In my mind, when I came into it, there was a caricature of who this person was, of this person who might be politically opposed to me, who might have a particular ideological bent toward abortion. And it was this kind of evil soul whom I needed to fight against. And what I found out was that is not who our clients were. Who our clients were young women who desired to be mothers, who, generally speaking, think abortion is wrong, many of whom have some sort of faith that they hold on to. But their situation is such they feel that abortion is the best option for them at that time. How desperate does a woman need to be that she feels that ending the life of her child is the best option for her at that time? So we've had to work together as a staff and as volunteers to make sure that we see these clients for who they are. They are image bearers. These are people who are placed here by God, created by God, and they have got children in them who are also image bearers. And inside of them, deep down, is this desire for them to respond to who God has made them to be. And so we try to see a little bit of us in them, see a little bit of God in them, in order to come alongside them and see what can we learn from them and what can they teach us, as we're also trying to teach them. And so we come down to where they are, trying to understand where they are so that we can best serve them and serve that baby. We believe the best way to intervene and save the life of that baby is to love that mother well and let her know that there's a place she can go to and find help. The next thing we provide is support. And this support looks two different ways. One, we have classes, and we have over 100 classes. They cover everything from neonatal development to prenatal development to how to find apartments to Bible studies. There's any number of things we do to try to speak to the whole person and address the various different needs that may present in their lives. And the other thing we provide are those resources, the things that we're giving out on Monday night. We have baby clothes, we have bottles, we have wipes, we have bathtubs, we have maternity clothes, we have books, we have any number of things that are necessary to get a mom and a dad ready for the baby to come, and then when the baby is actually there, to be able to provide for the needs of their babies. One of the number one things we provide a lot of is diapers. But the way our program works is we believe that God has created a way in which we're supposed to get provision, and that is we're supposed to work, and out of that work is supposed to come our means of provision. And that's the way that God has ordained it. And so we do our best not to just hand things out. We believe there's great dignity in people earning their way. And so when our clients come to classes and they do their homework and they show up on time, they earn money, and they use that money to buy the stuff that they need for themselves. So they get no handouts necessarily at the PHI Center. They get an opportunity to take care of themselves, and they get this stuff at a remarkable discount. I mean, actually it's free, but they have to go through the process of earning the stuff. And so the baby bucks allow them to get their needs met for their family, and it's a great opportunity for them to care for their own families. So that's the support side of what we do. Not to mention just the human support, that we try to come alongside them and be an extension of their family, at least as far as they will let us, that we can be a part of their lives, intervening in their lives and providing any kind of help that we can. And the next thing we do is we provide hope. Despair, I would argue, is the leading cause of abortion. Someone gets to the place where they feel their situation is hopeless. They don't know that they have an option. And what they need is a light, a glimmer, some chance to believe that they can do it, that their baby can live and they can be that baby's mother. And so we want to do everything we can to fight against despair, and we do that by providing hope. Again, that hope is strengthened by the support that we provide, and it is validated by the compassion that we try to empathize with, and that hopefully a client would come to us and they would see and experience hope, and that hope might be enough for them to give their baby a chance. I want to read for you a couple quotes to kind of illustrate my point. I got onto abort73.com, and they have a page dedicated to the state of Florida. And I got 4 or 5 quotes here. This is from moms who are sharing their stories of abortion on the website. And I just want you to hear in these stories that these are women who got to places where they were feeling desperate. And out of their desperation, they chose abortion. And you can see why our strategy of providing compassion, support, and hope is the one that we choose. Listen to these stories. One woman said, "I couldn't do anything but cry," describing her situation. Another said, "When I found out I was pregnant, I was scared." Another woman said, "My life began to flash before my eyes." And that's a term we normally only associate with someone who's near death, right? And this is a woman who has got life blossoming inside her. "My life began to flash before my eyes." Another one said, "My mother refused to let me in unless I would have the abortion." So complete disconnect from the family and an abandonment and support. Another one said, "I was all on my own." See, these are women who are feeling isolated, who are feeling like they have no support, and because they're isolated, because they don't feel like they have any support, they begin to despair. But had they found a place like the PHI Center, they might have been able to realize they can do it. They do have support. There is reason to hope, and perhaps they wouldn't be sharing their stories of abortion, but would be sharing their stories of the beautiful lives they have with them. So what I want to do, though, is I want to let someone else tell our story. I'm about to let you see a video from one of our clients who's going to be sharing her story of what her experience was like with the PHI Center. What you're going to hear her emphasize is support. She talks at length about the ways we were able to serve her, and in her mind, how our presence in her life is helping her do for her child what she feels maybe wasn't done for her. So you're not going to hear an agonizing testimony of lost and found, or some difficult story of where she was and what she was feeling like she might do with her child, and thankfully she's somewhere else. But a woman who wanted to have her child and wanted to have support, but felt overwhelmed and intimidated by her own inadequacies. And she found something at the PHI Center that was able to stabilize her. So as you listen to this story, listen for support and understand that is one of 3 prongs of what we do as we try to fight for life in the Tallahassee community.
I am blessed. Let's start with a little bit of where I come from and who am I. My life wasn't easy. I was a troubled child. Was in and out of DCL for about maybe 15 plus years, if I can remember. I think I was placed in maybe like 150 homes, all races. You know, some were good, some, some foster homes were good, some weren't. But I just don't want my child to go through what I went through. I really, really can't say, how it feels to have biological parents, even though I'm in contact with them now, but I just don't, I really can't say how my life was with them. But I think, like I said, I thank God for the parents that I do have. If it wasn't for them, who would have known where I would have been today, or what I would have been doing, or I could have been alive, maybe dead, who knows? But I thank God for every day. After all of the things that I went through as a child, or just growing up, people telling you that you're not going to be nothing, you're going to be dead before you turn this age. You know, just having people tell you things like that, it just make you, wonder, is that really true? Am I really going to be this when I grow up, or am I not going to be able to do this when I grow up because of, the things that they have told us? Sometimes those things, they carry with you for a long time, which, some things I have thought about because of what somebody else said to me. I used to always doubt myself, like I used to always question God, why me, which you never supposed to question God, but those are some of the things I used to do, question him, why me? Why can't I be like everybody else, just have a normal life, have their parents, or, what I'm saying, not saying that my parents wasn't good, but and sometimes I still question myself. What I went through was tough, but it made me who I am today. I am married. We struggle. Just, we're working and we're struggling to, just to try to get, what we need, just living life. Some things you run out of, some things you just have to sacrifice until the next paycheck. And, kids are expensive. Whether it's one or two, they're expensive. Especially Pampers and wipes. Before going to the PHI Center, just for myself, having my first child, things in the back of my head where, am I going to be able to provide for my child? Sometimes there are times where I'm out of things and you guys are right there at the nick of time, and I'm able to get what I need. Clothing, food, just anything that you need as far as helping, you guys are there. It was a struggle this year for me, to actually get him the things that I wanted to get him for Christmas. The Christmas program that you guys have, it's a blessing. I mean, he has so much stuff. You guys have been I'm talking about a blessing, a big help. Sometimes class can get a little deep, deeper than, just going there, watching videos, talking about our kids. Sometimes we get deeper into our life situations of what's going on, what happened, what's going on right now. It's great to actually talk to other moms or just talk to other people and let people know, hey, look, this is what I'm going through. Sometimes it takes just talking to somebody just to, relieve some of that stress. Me walking in smiling every day doesn't mean, I don't have other things going on in life, which, we all do. The hardest thing about being a parent is not being a good parent. That's the hardest thing that I, you know, have thought about, not being a good parent, not being able to, provide for my child, just me making, or I wouldn't even say making, or me thinking of making those mistakes that, my parents made, or just making mistakes that, my foster parents made, or, just any person that was able to care for me at the time, making those mistakes, here in life with, the child of my own, and, fearing not, not being here for him. I don't want my son going through what I went through as a child, being in and out of DCF, living from home to home. I just don't want him to go through what I went through as a child. I want to be able to, provide for him when he needs things. I don't want to not have it when, I'm in need of it. But like I said, thank God for the fire. But I mean, like I said, just thank God for you guys.
We are thankful for Empress for sharing some of her story with us and introducing her family to you and to us. And we're thankful to be a part of her life and thankful that she's a part of the life of the PHI Center. So it's always a cool thing when a client's willing to share their story with us. It takes a lot of courage to share your story with a bunch of complete strangers, but she sees a benefit in what we do, and she wanted to take that opportunity to give something back and hopefully encourage all of us to better understand what the PHI Center is doing. So I want to get down to the brass tacks of what it is that we do and how it is that we do it. First and foremost, you need to understand that we served just under 400 clients in 2019. We sometimes see that number up in the 600 and 700 range, sometimes it's down in the 400 range. It just all kinds of depends on what happens in a given year, what's going on in people's lives. But last year we served just under 400 clients. And what that turns into is just under 1,500 client visits of clients coming back and seeing with us as we're walking through life with them. And the way that we do that is our staff. I would say the greatest commodity that we have as the PHI Center is the people who work with us. We have a group of competent and compassionate people who have given their lives to serving in this capacity through the Pregnancy Help and Information Center, and it's them who provide the greatest acts of service to our clients. I like to always say that we try to make sure that we are available to our clients, and the way that we are available to our clients is by having staff in the building. So when someone shows up, they find someone who can listen to them and who knows what they're talking about to provide for them compassion and support and hope and a truthful guide as they go through this crazy season in their life. So I'm proud of our staff. Our staff has changed a lot over the last couple of years, and it's new now. But we have a neat opportunity for now. We have the first time ever, we have 2 nurses on our staff, both of whom have served in labor and delivery in recent years. We have a member of our staff who was a missionary in Asia, who was working in the red light district, and we're excited about helping to come strengthen our evangelistic efforts in this area. One of our staff members was just recently on a mission trip in Central America when coronavirus hit, and the rest of her church staff had to stay in Central America for a prolonged period of time until they were allowed to come back home. So I say that to say that we have a staff that is full of ministers of the gospel who believe first and foremost they are called by God to do the work of God. And the chosen place where they're doing that is in the work of pregnancy help, where they believe that they can serve in a compassionate way to young women and young men who need help and who need to find hope, and they've given their lives to that. But like I said, first and foremost, they are ministers of the gospel, and just the particular way they're expressing that is through the Pregnancy Help and Information Center. And because of that wonderful staff, in the last year in 2019, we saw 52 babies who were born. Now, when you hear that number, I don't want you to hear that there's 52 babies who are at dire risk of being aborted. A lot of those babies were, some of those babies were not. There's the babies we might have met in the 3rd trimester, maybe in the 2nd trimester, but plenty of them we met in the 1st trimester. But what we do know is that we don't know what the stories would have been had they not found us. But we do know what those stories are since they did. And 52 different babies were born who were a part of the ministry of the PHI Center in the last year, and I'm very proud of that. I'm proud that we have a staff who was there to listen and to be a part of their lives and to help them, that we were able to be available, that they were able to come and find a place where they could find support and they could find hope, that they might be able to be good parents to their children and give them a reason to carry forward. So I'm proud of that. So 52 babies that were born, and that was because of the staff that we have available who was able to work with them. One of the things that I want you to understand is that the way we operate is we have to keep our lights on and we have to keep our staff paid. The primary of our budget goes toward our staff. We are thankfully, by God's grace, a completely debt-free ministry. We own our building and we have no other debt anywhere. So the primary budget goes toward our staff. Our operating expenses are about $250,000 in a given calendar year. And of course, we have to pay our utility bills and we have insurance bills and those sorts of things that everybody has to pay. But we utilize that money to make sure we have staff in place who know what they're doing, who are good at what they do, and who are compassionate towards the people whom they serve. And that's where you guys come in. You might have noticed at the end of Empress' testimony, she said, "You guys help," in her last quote. And I want you to understand that you guys includes you. We have a small group, 5 or 6 of us, and depending on when we have interns, maybe 7 or 8 of us, that are in the building and available to our clients. But none of us are available to our clients if we don't have the surrounding support that comes from members of our community volunteering to give their money to support this ministry. That's where it comes from. That's how you guys help. Now, we would love to have you down to the center to volunteer. We'd love to have you come and learn how to do client advocacy, or maybe you'd want to help with our golf tournament or do a bottle drive or organize something at your church to help with material needs or donate your services. We need that. We need all kinds of volunteer hours. But right now, tonight, what we're looking for is people who can support us financially, who can come alongside us tonight and come alongside us over the coming months to continue to allow us to be available to our clients so that our staff can be available to our clients, that we might be helped defend life. But I want you to hear this story from somebody else. You're about to see another testimony. And this is a testimony from a man I met last year because he came to our Brephos last year and it left an impression on him. And he wants to share that impression that it gave to you guys. But again, before his testimony begins, you're going to see another verse of scripture come on the screen. And that scripture is just to guide our hearts, again, that we're kind of thinking the right way. And it's getting into the idea of God loving a cheerful giver. Again, after this time of prayer, you'll get to hear a testimony from one of our current donors, and then I'll be back with you.
My wife and I were first-time donors at the PHI Center last year, and we have 4 children. Wiley and Owen are our adopted sons, and they're 7 years old. And then we have 2 foster children that are 4 and 3. And we were invited to our first PHI Center banquet by Jesse and Barry Beavis last year. And honestly, we didn't really know what to expect, although we knew to come with a checkbook because that's kind of what you do. But I think what really surprised us and really got us excited about being donors for the PHI Center was their comprehensive approach to serving the entire family, not just being pro-birth, but being pro-life throughout all of the early childhood years of the family. Because as foster parents, we learned early on that we couldn't just foster the children and keep them safe for a short period of time, that if we really wanted to have a lasting impact for that child, that we needed to really foster the whole family. And we saw our family's vision for how we approach life sort of mirrored with the PHI Center, where the PHI Center has services for families that have children up to the first 5 years of life. And so they're really partnering with families throughout those critical early childhood years. So we've been able to refer a lot of our biological families that we've worked with to the PHI Center for services. And what is wonderful about this is that it fills a unique gap within Tallahassee where there are services for young families and young mothers that are provided by the PHI Center for free. But I think what blew me away at the banquet last year was that the services are provided at an annual cost of about $600 per client, at least as of last year. And that's an absolutely incredible rate. The cost of having a child and child dependency is astronomically higher than that. But to be able to provide those services for the family and help that parent their child well throughout the early childhood years is an indispensable resource, something that I think is relatively unique to Tallahassee and is certainly unique within Tallahassee. So if you're a first-time donor or you've been involved and been a donor before, consider supporting at least one family for this next year. And maybe you've already supported one or many families for a year through the PHI Center. Consider supporting on a monthly basis. It's important to be involved on a monthly basis through the PHI Center because writing that check every month or seeing that debit on your account will remind you to pray for the PHI Center and keep you engaged with their ministry throughout the year. Thank you very much for your time.
So we're thankful to Dan and his wife Olivia and the whole Burns family, both for the support they've given to the PHI Center and for their willingness to share some of their story with us tonight. We're grateful again for all of our donors that allow us to do the work that we do, and all of us together make up the PHI Center team, and we're thankful for you. And as Empress said in her testimony, that you guys do good things. That again, that includes you, and that includes me, and that includes all of us that are connected to the PHI Center, and we're grateful for you. I want to tell a story. Again, because tonight's different, right? There's this neat story of after Jesus was crucified and he was resurrected, and you have this scene where some of the disciples were out fishing, and they had their nets cast over on one side of the boat, and they were using their nets for what their nets were to be used for, and they were using it the same way they'd always done it, and the same boats they'd always used, with the same technique that they'd always use, all of them being experienced fishermen. Yet even though they were casting their nets repeatedly, they had caught nothing. It just got me thinking about the idea that things like banquets and golf tournaments and walks for life and things that they do, that's kind of like the nets, the tools that we have, that God has given us to raise support, to help continue to do the work that we're giving us to do. But all of those techniques, all of those tools, all of those opportunities that we have are nothing if God is not the one who is moving. And if you remember in that story, what Jesus told those guys to do was, hey, throw your nets to the other side. And their response was, we've done it already. We've been fishing. We know what's going on. It's no, throw your notes to the other side. Again, that's my paraphrase, not the direct translation. But the point of the matter was that in that time, he was going to use those techniques to carry in a great haul. If you remember, the nets began to break. There were so many fish that were involved in that story. So that's what's giving me hope tonight, that we've been given these tools, things like fundraisers, to try to do our best to be diligent with the work that God has called us to do. And yet ultimately it's God who is the one who is going to fill the nets. So my hope tonight is that that is what's going to happen. I would encourage you to pray along with me, that God would fill the nets, that we would have the resources we need to continue to be available to the clients of the city of Tallahassee, that we might be a part of this life-saving work as we continue forward. I'm thankful to every person who tuned in tonight. Everybody who hosted a table, thank you for doing that. Thank you for sharing this ministry with others and for making time to watch it with us tonight. I want to encourage you, this link's going to stay live. So if there's someone whom you think would like to know more about the PHI Center, I would encourage you to get the link, stay on, let them see the link. They can watch it tomorrow night, they can watch it tomorrow morning, they can watch it next Thursday. You can share the PHI Center because of this opportunity through the COVID-19 that we now have this video online for people to see and to share. I would encourage you to do that if you think there's someone who might like to know more about us. Remember that if there's any questions that you have about something that you learned about tonight, or you want to get involved in some other way, you can always call us. Our phone number is 222-7177. You can always find us online at phicenter.org. Again, thank you all for coming tonight, for participating in Brephos, and again, we hope that you would share it with others. If you stick around here for a minute, there's going to be an explanation again on how to pledge. Our hope is, like Dan said, that you might be willing to give us a gift tonight of one particular value, and that you also might consider supporting us monthly. And like he said, it costs us roughly $600 to serve a client for a year. So if you can write that one $500 check, $600 check, that would be great. And then if you also can consider supporting us monthly, that would be particularly helpful so that we can continue to be present in the lives of our clients for long periods of time. But again, after I'm done talking here, another little video is going to pop up that will explain the whole process of how you can use the giving form, how to break it down, where to put your credit card information. Everything's explained well for you there. And again, thank you for coming. We appreciate your support of the Pregnancy Help and Information Center. This is Brephos 2020. Thanks so much.
Hi everyone, and thank you so much for attending Brephos 2020 with us tonight on this virtual platform. We are so glad you were able to make it. And now I would like to just let you know how to fill out this pledge sheet if you need some help with it. If you are a regular e-giving member for the PHI Center, you can use the sign-in button to access your account. Otherwise, we really ask that everybody fill out the Give Now section. Any fields that are required will have required spelled out next to them. The first section is your guest contact information. Please fill this out so that we can contact you and let you know that we were so happy to have you here tonight. This question you see, do you consent to receiving emails from the PHI Center, is simply to let us know if you would like to sign up for our e-newsletter. These go out 1 to 3 times per month, and you can unsubscribe at any time. This is just if you want to know what's going on at the PHI Center on a regular basis, any events that are coming up, or any ways that you can get involved. We'll also send out needs on this for our storeroom and other things as they come up. The next section is ways to get involved. Please click as many of these boxes as you would like to. This is not a commitment to do any of these things. This is just to get more information about how these things work. The last section is my donation commitment. This is how you would like to donate financially to the PHI Center tonight, if you can. The first option is a one-time gift with a credit card. When you check this box, you'll see a fund. Choose the 2020 Brephos donation and enter your amount. Once you enter the amount, you can give your credit card or bank account information. The next option is a one-time gift tonight with a check. We ask you to go ahead and specify how much, just so we know. And then you can click submit from there. We will ask you to send the check to us, make that check out to PHI Center with a memo Brephos 2020. Our address is 1710 South Gadsden Street, Tallahassee, Florida 32301. The next option is a one-time pledge to be paid in the next 90 days. Similar to the check option, pick an amount, and you can either send that check to us or go to our donate page if you'd like to pay by credit card. I will show you this page in just a little bit. You will receive a reminder within 30 days. The next two options are very similar in how they're filled out, so I will click both of these. The first option is to start a new monthly pledge. If you select this option, skip down to the My New Pledge Is field. Enter the amount that you want to pledge and click Submit. The next option is to change my current pledge. If you currently have a monthly pledge with the PHI Center, go ahead and enter what your old pledge was and what you would like your new pledge to be. For Maintain My Current Pledge, simply enter what your current pledge is and leave it, and click Submit when you're finished. If you want to make this through automatic payments from your credit card or your bank account, you can do this by going to phicenter.org/donate. And be sure to click the Make This Gift Recurring checkbox. We'll look at that in just a moment. If you'd like to send this pledge monthly by check, please send it to the PHI Center, made out to the PHI Center. Again, please be sure to click Submit at the end of whatever option you choose. Now here's a look at our donate page at phicenter.org. You can always find our address here if you need to send us a check, or if you want to donate by credit card or bank account, you can click on this donate button. You'll always have the Give Now option for a one-time donation. You'll notice if you enter an amount and you'd like to make the gift recurring, when you check this box, it asks you to create an account. This way you can manage what that monthly payment looks like and change it at any time if you need to. Just click this register for an account, and once you set that up, you can simply log in the next time you're here. Thank you once again for giving to the PHI Center. We're so glad you're here, and just let us know if you have any questions. Thank you and have a great night.